is up, Bears Nation? Bear down. Here we are. Let's see. I gotta turn this down. Let's get to it. Turn the chat over. This is my first time using StreamYard. I'm catching up with everyone. So here we go. Let's get to those days where we have 2 Super Bowls, baby. Hey, thanks for everybody tuning in. Middle of the day. I have been swamped lately. It's been crazy busy. And I haven't been getting to my videos as much. So here we are doing a live today. We'll get back to a better routine next week. But this is my first time using StreamYard. Thought we'd check it out for today. Had just a little discussion about where things are. I'll pull up a few screens since I haven't been able to make some videos the last couple of days. Been super swamped. Just a shout out to a bunch of you guys that are here right now. Bears Chunky 23. Creighton Wilfong, that dude you know and love. Plank, as always, dude. Thanks for being here, guys. We'll have some productive conversation. I will do a little Q&A with you guys. Michael S. Doran, thanks for being here. Oh, Doomsday, that's the dream, guys. So let me just jump right in right off the bat. Those who are joining late, those who hop in, jump in with us. Here we are. We weren't able to get a video going yesterday, so we're doing it today. All right, so let me share my screen, show you some of the things I've been looking at lately. So the things that I've been focused on, number one, this draft and where we're headed with it. One of the biggest things I want to show you guys. Okay, let's see. Let's make sure I'm doing this right. It's my first time using the Restream or the StreamYard, so I want to make sure everything I'm showing is popping up there. It is. Okay. So here's the salary cap. We'll get into some questions in a minute once you guys are settled in here. Go away, ad. Go away. Wish I could take these ads out of here. Can I make that even bigger? Bear with me, guys. As you know, we're still baby channel. All right, so here's our salary cap. Projected draft pool for the draft, $12.3 million. It's right here if you don't see that, $12.3 million. And then what we have left, $23.26 million. So roughly $10 million is what we have in salary cap. As we've talked about, though, there's a couple cuts we can make. But the big thing I want to show today, we haven't really talked a lot about, is let's go over to multi-year summary. And this is why we have to build through the draft. So right now, see that number right there, signed players this year, 68. By the time camp rolls around, we're going to have 90. Because that's what you do. You have 90 men at the camp, and then you trim it down, then you trim it down. You get down to 53 before the season starts. You fill out your 16-man practice squad, and away you go. But look at next year. This is less than this year. Signed players through next year. We have a lot of one-year contracts this year. This is why I don't think we do a T. Higgins. Turn my mic down a bit.
I haven't had this problem because I haven't used StreamYard yet.
Is my mic too loud, guys? Let's get a consensus here. Not sure if my mic's too loud. Maybe I'll just be quieter. Mic is fine. All right, we'll see how it goes. All right, so right there, see that 33? That's less than this year. This year we came into the offseason with over 40. So we have a lot of one-year contracts. Now, Ryan Poles, we know, can do a lot of work in a lot of re-signings, and we have a lot that we do need to re-sign. In fact, if we go to the positional grouping, see here all these. Brett Rippon probably won't be coming back. Travis Homer might even get cut this year. Khalil Herbert, maybe not coming back. Depends on what we do. Kerry Blasingame might not even make it to this year. All right, here we go. Keenan Allen. I would assume we're working on an extension, but Ryan Poles alluded to that being a next year or late into the season type of thing. He didn't say it was getting done anytime soon. Colin Johnson right now, practice squad or depth guy. Nasimba Webster, same thing. Dante Pettis, let's see how this year goes. I think he's really here for return duties and just to see if we can get back some of the connection he was starting to build with Justin Fields, obviously with the new quarterback coming in. Other than that, we've only got DJ Moore, Velus Jones, and Tyler Scott signed for next year. This is why everyone talks about needing to build through the draft with wide receiver room. All right. And then you look at tight ends. We've only got Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett. We need another one. Steven Carlson isn't going to make the roster, in my opinion. He could. I just don't see that happening with where he's been. So this is where we need to either re-sign Mercedes Lewis or build through the draft if we're going to trade down. And then the offensive line. Look at how many positions we need here. Right now we have Nate Davis, Darnell Wright, and Ryan Bates next year, Braxton Jones. Jatari Carter shouldn't be on the team this year. So that's it, just 4. And that's not even depth. So Coleman Shelton's a rental. Larry Borum shouldn't be on the team. Tevin Jenkins needs to be extended. Jake Kierhan, is he going to work out? We don't know. Matt Pryor, same situation. Aviante Collins, he's really just a gap filler at this point. So we need depth on the offensive line bad. You see that on the wide receiver room. You see it on the offensive line. Defensive line, we're a little bit better shape this year. So we could go into this year with less need to fix there. This is why you see the debates about Ryan Poles and the pods. They talk about the pods, breaking them down. This would be the biggest argument to me, pulling up the salary cap, pulling up the team, where we are, what positions we have signed through next year. And we've only got 33 total, 33 players signed into next year. So the Bears are not in some glorious situation where we're playoff contenders and we're Super Bowl contenders and we're set up for years to come. We're going to have a reset quarterback clock. And that's awesome, especially if he ends up being generational. And there's a lot of things that I'm seeing that are making me feel a lot more comfortable about Caleb Williams. As you guys know, I'm one of the biggest ones that needs it to be proven to him. I want to see that. One of the videos Swifty did showing his clutch, his third down, his fourth quarter, that helps me. That makes me excited. But still, anytime you have a rookie, they need to come in and prove it. He's generational, though, right? So he should be like Andrew Luck. And he should come in and lead us to the playoffs in year 1. All right, I got to look at some of the comments. It's fine until you get excited. Sorry, guys. Trying to close that ad doesn't work for me either. Carter's a cheap backup. Jatari Carter sucks, though, man. Yeah, though he does suck. His Yannick sign. No, and you're going to see that right now, guys. You're going to see kind of a standstill on signings. You're not going to see anybody really getting signed right now until the draft is over. So right now, the time frame, just so you know, we have one more week, I think actually only till the 17th. So just through this week where we can have top 30 visits in Hallis Hall. So a time frame of the NFL schedule. They can host visits until the 17th. And I'll pull up a couple of updated top 30 visits. I think we've had 28, but 5 of those or 4 of those are local visits, so they don't count. So it's going to be interesting to see which guys end up being the final visits coming into Hall. So we'll pull some of that up as well. Add in rookies. Yeah, so 33 plus 4, and that's where I'm going with this. Chad Wessels, good comment. Add in rookies. So let me come back to this. I'm going to show that one. So add in rookies, 37 to 39 signed for next year if we trade down. So that's why I really think even if Rome is there at 9, I made a comment on Twitter that I think we're trading down no matter what. And I know Ryan, but no team tips their hands. So Ryan Poles did say, I'm comfortable with 4. We've made 32 picks in the last 4 years. And I'm going to do a video on that, break it down. Those 32 picks haven't all been quality picks because he's been forced into destitution from Ryan Pace and what he came into, where they were 5th, 6th, 7th round picks that he was forced to take, where it's guys like Doug Kramer who have been perennial practice squad guys. We'd love to have a long-term center out of those picks, but those 5th, 6th, 7th rounders are really band-aids. They're not guys that build the team. And if you can trade down from 9, pick up my situation I keep coming back to is the Raiders, because the Raiders are going to be in a situation where they need a quarterback. And if you're trading down from 9 to 13 and you can pick up a 2nd rounder and possibly a 4th rounder in the same connection, you've got 2 extra picks, then I see him taking one of his defensive ends there. How far would we have to, let's show that one. How far would we have to move down in round 1 to net a 2nd rounder? That's all going to depend on how much teams are willing to pay to come up. So let me pull up this. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let me add a new one. Okay, right here. So here's Vegas. So here's my ideal situation, because to me, Vegas is in that prime position where if the quarterback doesn't go off the board, they're going to want to trade up. You see the draft trade value chart. This is the Jimmy Johnson. It's not as accurate as the Rich Hill one, but it's kind of what automatically everyone goes to. You see, that's only a 200-point difference. So that's really a third rounder. So really a fair trade value would be 13 and 77 for 9. That would be a fair trade value. But if you're coming up for quarterback, which teams are going to want to jump ahead of Denver, jump ahead of Minnesota, get out of here, get ahead of Minnesota, then they're going to overpay, just like the Bears did. They came from 20 to 11 to get Justin Fields, and they way overpaid by 60%. So it's not unreasonable to say the Bears would get from Las Vegas 13, 44, and 112, which is an overpay by about 40%, to be able to move up from 13 to 9. That's the ideal scenario for me. So that's where I think that sweet spot would be, where Ryan Poles could do that and still trade down and get his top defensive end that he would be looking at. Let me go back to this. All right. Yeah. Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver from Texas, guys, he doesn't drop the ball ever. So my rankings of wide receivers, guys, number 1, Marvin Harrison Jr., number 2, Rome Odunze, number 3, Malik Neighbors, number 4, Brian Thomas Jr., number 5, Adonai Mitchell, and then I'm out of order from what everybody else says. I say Xavier Legette, number 6, because his yak and because he's like a running back once he gets the ball. And this hip drop tackle thing this year is actually going to affect teams. Derrick Henry is going to be a beast this next year. If you guys are going into fantasy and you have the opportunity to draft Derrick Henry ahead of where you normally would, then draft him, because those hip drop tackles, it's going to be hard to take him down without taking out his legs. Same for players like DJ Moore, who runs like a running back, and Xavier Legette, who runs like a running back. So there's going to be some studs that you can take at the wide receiver position that plays like a running back. Yannick and other vets like to until after OTAs to sign contracts. Yeah, it's a thing where teams don't want to sign them either until they see what they get in the draft. These aren't really high demand guys at this point. They're guys that you can wait on and fill your roster. I don't want Yannick back on our team at all. Bills trading up for Odunze is too far down. No, it's not too far down. In fact, I'm one of the big things I'm thinking about right now is Ryan Poles in his head could be thinking, I've got such a deep first-round class where now Jackson Powers-Johnson, Zach Frazier, some of these centers, not a premium position as to what people think. So they're falling out of the first round, and there's first-round talent you're going to find in the second round. So if Poles wants to draft a first rounder next year to get an extra first rounder, trade down with the Bills, get 2 picks this year, get a first rounder next year, maybe and have draft capital to trade back up after that. I'm not thinking that's crazy at all. I think his MO would be more to a small trade down, grabbing a couple extra picks. To me, that's what I would think, but I don't think anything's off the table. In fact, if you saw
who was it that
posted, let's see if I can find it real quick. Diana Rossini just barely posted this morning saying, in fact, I'll quote it. Just had an insightful draft conversation with a GM who strongly reminded me about 20 times that most teams are still undecided and no team is leaking to anyone who they are picking. Most organizations aren't even settled on who they are taking. It's still early. So unlike other things, right now, teams are still vetting. They're still bringing people into their top 30 visits. They're still working them out. They're still going through the process and trying to determine it. And they're still going through their pods, and they're still going through their situations of who would fit where. So, yeah, I don't think the Bears are even decided on what they're doing at 9. I think personally, Ryan Poles is leaning to trade down just because of what I showed you guys with this. Pull it back up. Again, bear with me. Bear down. I'm still new to this StreamYard. I'm still a new channel. But 33 players signed through next year. That's why I think he's going to trade down a little bit. Yes, we have 9 picks, possibly 10, maybe even more picks next year. But not all those picks are going to be starters. Not all those picks are going to make the team. There's going to be, first, second, third rounders that definitely will, but your fourth, the fourth should too, fifth should too. 6th and 7th rounders, once you're becoming an established team, they're not necessarily making the team. They might go to your practice squad. They might get cut. You might be signing players from other teams. So 33 right there, that's the big reason I don't think we're signing any more vets. That's the reason I don't think we're signing a T. Higgins or trading for a T. or whatever. it's more because of where we have to grow for the future now. We have to get some of these re-signings done, and now it's built through the draft. And yeah, there might be some late additions, like if we don't end up going defensive end and we need to go a one-year contract, we could sign a Carl Lawson type of situation. Man, I got to catch up to you guys' chat. Again, forgive me. I'm still new to StreamYard and doing all this. Smash the like button. Appreciate that. If there's isn't a second round pick involved, I'm not in favor of moving down from 9. Yeah, I agree with you. There's got to be enough value extracted. I don't want to straight across one-for-one value if we're trading down. If that's the case, let's take Rome Odunze. I don't think Rome's going to be there. I really don't, guys. I think Rome is going to be gone. I think Arizona, Chargers, and Giants are all taking wide receiver. I really do. And then I think Alt is gone to the Titans. So that really leaves us a situation where we do move down. It's just I don't want a straight across equal value trade from 9. It's such a high value position. I want us to extract some value out of it. B-Shep, let's see. There's a high chance Ryan Poles trades the number 1 pick for Justin Herbert and on a haul. I don't believe that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't believe that. I don't think we're so far down the road of Caleb Williams, guys. Caleb Williams, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, Caleb Williams is the Bears quarterback this year. That's happening. 99% at this point. I really believe that. 4 or 5 Vikings are trading all speculation every day. Yeah, right now is lying season. I mean, that's what I put on here. Lying season, you're going to see so many fake rumors. You're even going to start seeing people say the Bears are trading the number 1 pick again. I mean, I could start that rumor. It would be rumors at this point because it's not happening. Everything you've seen with the Bears bringing Caleb Williams in for culture, bringing DJ Moore was a huge thing. Bringing him in to meet with him when DJ Moore was a huge advocate for Justin Fields, that showed just how much they want to bring the culture around. And that's the advantage of having the number 1 pick is we can do that early. We can basically everyone knows the Bears are taking Caleb Williams at this point. So now it's a matter of him connecting and building culture. Yeah, the dead cap hit is huge. For that reason alone. I mean, that's the whole reason we traded away Justin Fields, guys, is to reset the quarterback clock. It was a business decision. Did all draftees visit last year? No. So here's the thing with top 30 visits. I'm going to put that one up. I got to remember to do that. Here's the thing with top 30 visits is you have an opportunity to bring guys in and be able to work them out and drill them. And sometimes you don't like what you see, so you don't draft them because of that. A lot of times you love what you see. But some of the guys you brought in for top 30 visits might not be available because other teams like them too, and they drafted them ahead of you. But we did take 4 guys that we had on top 30 visits last year. Darnell Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, Gervon Dexter, and Tyler Scott. All 4 of those were guys we brought in for top 30 visits. And even then, Ryan Poles said they didn't bring in Roschon Johnson because they did not expect him to be there in the 4th round. When he was there, that was a situation where they jumped right on it because they didn't expect it to happen. I like that comment. I just want to come away with a premium wide receiver that's going to make defenses nervous and lock up Keenan. I like that too, 100%. And there's so many options in this draft, though. And I think if we trade down in that scenario, 13 and 45 or 44 and another one, there's so many options in the 3rd round or in the 2nd round, even the 3rd round this year, guys. There's so many options to what we can do in trading down. That's why I think it's happening. That's why. Now, I posed a scenario where we're trading way down and trading way back up. That's something I like. That's something like keeping Justin Fields. It's something I like. I don't think that's Ryan Poles' MO. I don't think he's going to trade out of the 1st round, then trade back in with Miami at 21 because then he likes someone there and it's a good time to come up. That's something that the Cardinals did last year, not out of the 1st round, but trading down and trading back up. That's something they did, and I like the concept of it, of being able to trade back up where you think the value is to get there. But we definitely need to focus on building this wide receiver room. The other thing is, in fact, let me pull up. From my computer. Let's see here. One second, guys. Save. Didn't work. I'm still new to this. Oh, it's uploading. That's why. I'll pull it up in a second. The top 30 is the other one that I really like is Ben Sennett. Now, he wasn't my favorite. Kate Stover was. Ben Sennett has highly grown on me. He's a well-rounded tight end, and he would fit perfectly. And you don't expect tight ends to be impact players on year one. They have to develop in the league. And so to bring him in with Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett on a short-term contract. Let's see this. There we go. All right. Ugh, that layout's ugly. That didn't do. That was not how I had it laid out. Sorry, guys. It's ugly. But there's the updated top 30. Oof, that is ugly. See if I can share that a different way. Let's get rid of that. Ooh, ugly. Yeah, we'll get better at this. This is my first time using StreamYard. Still growing. Still a baby channel. Hit the like button if you don't mind. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Appreciate you guys being here. But there's a lot of options. So let's go back to this. Okay. Let's go back to this and these 33 here, and then go back to the salary cap right now. And there's still a couple guys we can cut this year, but then we're still in the situation where we have to draft quality players this year instead of signing. So I really think this is the year where we have to trade down to pick up a couple extra pieces because we only have those 33. All right. I want to get that screen, though. All right. I'll just tell them to you guys since it's not pulling. It's looking funny. It's not pulling up right. Cancel that. And then I'll get to some of the questions you guys have. So a couple of the new top 30s that are updated. Number one, Ryan Florney. I made a short on YouTube about that yesterday. 5th to 7th round prospect. I love everything about him that I'm seeing, though. He is not anything to shy away from, and I'll show you guys why. Let's go here, and I will show you what I'm doing. Stop screen there, present, share screen. All right, where is it? Oh, maybe I can't share PFF. Let's see if I can. Can I share that? Am I allowed to? Because it's a premium membership. See what happens here. Ooh, it is. Hip, hip, hooray. Okay. So let's go here. Let's go Ryan Flournoy. I keep saying it wrong. Not NFL. We're NCAA. Ryan Flournoy. There we go. So here's the new top 30 visit that we're bringing in. Got to go to receiving. All right, so here he was with Southeast Missouri State. Same thing as Braxton Jones. You've got a small school guy, but go away. But he was consistent over the last 2 years. So I really like that he was consistent, and the things he's consistent with are the things that I like. You look down there, the drop percentage, 1.7% this last year, 3.2 over his career, 35% contested catch, which isn't, immaculate, but it's solid. He's lined up out wide, so he's an X receiver, but 6'2". He's really 6'1". If you look at his combine stuff, he ran a 4.44 40, and he's got a 40-inch vertical. He is a high point guy from a small school, though. So how much of that is going to translate, I don't know. Sorry, I got to get rid of that. Hide that comment. So that's the newest one. And then also linebacker. Let's go. Linebacker, who is a local one. These are both local. So Ryan Flournoy grew up in Chicago, and Bryce Gallagher as well, linebacker. He's an undrafted free agent prospect right now. And sometimes they use top 30 visits for that, especially at linebacker. That's a position that we often bring in undrafted free agents to see how they do. So let's hide that now. Remove that. Okay. All right, let's get to some comments. Some of that was a little slow. I'll get used to StreamYard, guys. I'll get used to it as we go along. But some of the things that I want to show you today was, number one, how few guys we have signed for next year, which makes immediate impact that we need to trade down from number 9. Yeah, Tyler Scott went in the 4th round, as well as Roshan. Those are the 2 guys we picked up last year. Tight end isn't a need. We only have 2 on the team. You carry at least 3, especially for special teams. So you have to have a 3rd tight end. So it is definitely a need, especially in Shane Waldron's 12 and 13 personnel sets. We might carry 4 tight ends. Right now, we do not have a 3rd tight end. So we have to have tight end. That's a position we have to pick up. We're going to pick up a tight end. I can guarantee that. Theo Johnson or Wiley in the 4th round. I'm not opposed to that. There's just so many good tight ends that I would rather have us trade down and pick up one. I really think at 75, if Ben Sennett's there, that we snag him in a heartbeat. But there's no way he's going to be there at 75. Okay, let's see. I'm pulling your chain, but well, you got me. Actually, Shane Waldron did run after their bye week at the end of the year. He ran a ton of 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver sets. So a lot of people were kind of overlooking that, but he absolutely might be planning on more. I think he likes to shake things up too. He doesn't like to be predictable. So he absolutely could do less 12 personnel and 13 personnel, but we brought in Everett, so I would expect to see a lot of 12 personnel. No reason that Caleb can't get 4,000 yards this season. He has everything. 100% agree. So let's go into that conversation. Everyone's talking about how we need to temper expectations. No. Let's pull up. I don't see this as a 7-win team at the end of the year. This team really transformed once the Bears got the defense established with Montez Sweat. So let's pull this up. Here's the end of the year. So here's last year. At the end of the year is when Montez Sweat came in. That's when this team was changed. Completely different team. So you don't look at the Lions and say 2 years ago that they were a 9-win team. They believed they were a playoff team. Same with the Bears. This team has only improved since last season. Even at the quarterback position, I know everyone doesn't like to hear that. They don't believe it. Justin Fields had his weaknesses. Caleb Williams is technically supposed to be an upgrade from him. Okay? They shared a lot of the same weaknesses. Caleb Williams does have a stronger arm. He's not proven in the NFL yet. That's what we need to see. But you're taking him first overall. You need to have that expectation. You absolutely have to have that expectation. But look at when Montez Sweat came over. I'm not going to count the New Orleans game because he didn't even have a chance to look at the playbook at that point. He came in, he played. Bagent had a pretty bad game, if we're going to be honest about it. So let's go from Carolina on. We got 1 win, 1 loss, 2 wins, 1 loss, 3 wins, 1 loss, 3 wins, 2 loss, 4, 5 wins, and 3 losses. So that's a 625, if my math is right. Percentage, 5 divided by 8. Yeah, 625. Now times that by 17 games. That's a 10.5 game. That's a 10.5 win team. That's how I view this team. That defense did not get worse over last season. And the offense should be better. We've got a better center. We've got a better wide receiver too. And we technically should have a better quarterback. If he's not, why the heck are we drafting him number 1 overall? He's generational. And that's how he's viewed. If you watched Speak yesterday, that was the debate they had, is should the Bears have the expectation of going to the playoffs? This isn't the Panthers from last year. This isn't the, let's use a better example. This isn't the Jaguars from 2021 when Trevor Lawrence was generational. The last one they said was generational. This is more like Andrew Luck in the, when was it? 2016. I don't remember what year Andrew Luck came out. Man, a long time ago actually. Probably 14 years ago. 2010, 2011. Geesh, I'm getting old. This is more like that, where they clearly tanked. Like they called it tanking on purpose because Peyton Manning was injured. They tanked. They got Andrew Luck, and that was the situation. And he took them to the playoffs. This is that situation with the Bears. The Bears absolutely should have the expectation that they are going to the playoffs. If they don't, then it is absolutely a failure on the part of Caleb Williams. And the team needs to do better at putting the right pieces in place or at coaching him up. I like this comment. He better have a CJ Stroud type of year with 11 wins and hosting a playoff game. 100% agree. Sweat for an entire season and all this improvement, 11 wins and 4,000 with 25 touchdowns. This is my expectations right here. That dude you know and love. 100% my expectation. With that defense being a top 5 defense, top 1 defense at the end of the year, last year, with that defense and the additions that we made, that should 100% be the expectation we have. Now, I realize we're in a much more difficult division than the Texans were in last year, but CJ Stroud wasn't expected to be generational like Caleb Williams is. CJ Stroud can't throw off platform. He can't throw as accurately. He can't throw as strong. One of the things that I like that I'm hearing about Caleb Williams is how he can manipulate his speed on the ball. Most NFL players can manipulate it between 5 and 10 miles an hour and be accurate still. Caleb Williams apparently can do it within 15 miles an hour. He can put a soft touch on it, and he can also throw a bullet, and he can do that downfield. So I'm growing with the idea of Caleb Williams. I have the same quarterback PTSD that all you guys have. I like this. Yes. He seems to be dropping for some reason, and I don't know why. And I understand teams, their big boards differently than we do out here and what ESPN or Walter Football or PFF or PFN have. They all have their rankings different than us. But I think I was higher on Cade Stover than everyone else is. So he absolutely could be available at 75. We haven't brought him in for a top 30 visit. I would love to see that. Man, I don't know why this is looking funky. Again, guys, I'm new to StreamYard. I'm new to using that. So my setting is off a little bit when I'm sharing it, but hopefully you can see the gist there. I know it's ugly. I'm sorry. But basically we have 27 top 30 visits used, and 3, 4, 5 of those are local visits. So it's going to be interesting to see over the next couple of days, because back to that conversation, the 17th is the last day that we can bring in prospects to Hallis Hall to be able to work them out and to do top 30 visits. Now, teams can still, up to the 24th, go to other locations and visit with players and work out players and do their thing with players to see how they like them, but not at Hallis Hall after the 17th. We can't bring them into our own place. All right, there's a chance. I haven't looked at all these. Yeah, that's the hard part right here. So we focus on our team. There's a chance the Lions and Packers stay the same as far as how good they are. Bears could get on their level or pass them. We had Detroit's number for the most part last year. I like that comment, B-Shep. Who knows? That's the thing about the offseason. We love the offseason for the opportunity to grow the team. As I showed, we only have 33 guys next year. We've got to do some serious work on building the team through the draft, and we've got to do some serious extensions. There's a lot of guys that we all want to see get extended. But the Lions and Packers aren't the same teams as last year either. In fact, Dan Campbell commented about how they're not the same team. They're losing a lot of players. Now, I still see the Lions as the favorite. I see the Packers as number 2, and I see us as number 3. That's just how it has to be going into the season. But that easily changes as teams gel and as you see them progress. This Bears team the second half of the year was much different than the Bears team at the first of the year. So that defense, if nothing else, should be pretty established. Now, the offense is going to take some time. I really hope Caleb Williams plays more in the preseason than what you expect. And he probably won't because they don't want to risk injury, but I want to see him gel with the team. Swifty's in the house, guys, I guess. All right, let's see. All right, post any questions you got in there. That's kind of where we're at right now with this. Big thing that I wanted to discuss was the trade downs. And I really think we're trading down because of the fact that we only have 33 signed for next year. I realize Poles said he's made 32 picks. He's not going to reveal his plans, guys. It's still that time of year. He's not going to tell everyone what he's doing. But the fact that he's interviewing all those guys, man, I really wish. I'll get this figured out before next time. But it was separated into first and ninth, and then second round. How many of those guys have we brought in that are in second round range? So there's a huge gap there. Even the end of the first round, those guys like Byron Murphy, J.C. Latham, Jackson Powers Johnson, Tyler Guyton, Zach Frazier, Graham Barton, Lad McConkey, all those guys. He wouldn't be bringing those guys in unless he had at least the possibility in his mind that he's trading back. So that's why I really think that that's where we're headed there. All right. Cam Hart is a local. Yeah, I got that one with the stars. So the stars around it meant that they're local, so they don't count against it. Concerns about Odunze's separation ability. So Odunze doesn't separate as well, but he has the highest contested catch rate in this class at 75%. In fact, he's the highest contested catch rate since Jalen Waddle and Justin Jefferson. So if you want to compare how important that contested catch rate is, that's how important it is. And that leads to me to almost instant success. Yeah, this is true. And this is what fans need to be realistic about. Johnson or not, Sweat or not, Green Bay kicked our ass week 18. And they did. And they still own us for now. Now, we can get into a conversation about Jordan Love. He improved, okay? But he is not the reason. That team is stacked from top to bottom. They're built the right way with proper coaching, with depth. And that's what we're lacking right now is depth. So if Neighbors is at 9, all right, here's the thing. If Neighbors is at 9, are we still trading down or we do not really need a traditional X? No, we need depth. We need another starter. We need an X receiver, and Neighbors could be that. Odunze could be that. Marvin Harrison Jr. could obviously be that. Brian Thomas could be that. Adonai Mitchell could be that. Xavier Legette could be that. This is my opinion. Okay. So right now, nobody knows what's going to happen. And I've said if wide receivers there, we should take them. I don't think they're going to be. I really think Arizona, Chargers, and Giants are all taking wide receiver. That's what I think right now. If one of those wide receivers is there, the value to trade down is going to be even stronger, just like a quarterback. So maybe we do take the Bills type of trade down. Maybe the Colts want to trade up for wide receiver there. So I just think that's where Ryan Poles is. This is just the opinion of Adam. This is just my opinion. There's no insider stuff there. There's no reason to believe that wouldn't. I just really think he's going to extract some value this year out of that. Mid-season, the media was questioning whether or not Love was the guy. 9 wins later, they're calling him the next Rodgers Favre. Okay, go look at his advanced metrics. So here, I'm going to show you guys this. We're going to go into this. All right, so I had Michael Thomas up. Let's look here. Jordan Love. Jordan Love did fine. He did a lot better at the end of the year. Look at the end of his year, a lot better. But his turnover-worthy plays were high all year. He got a lot better at the end of the year, but his adjusted completion percentage is very low. Now, this is why, as a Packers fan, I would be excited, because at the end of the year, he did improve a ton. And that's what you want to see out of your quarterback. So I'm not saying Jordan Love is trash, but he's not the reason this team did so well. His team, you got to get out of the premium stats. Let's go to yeah, we'll do that on a video. His team was stacked. He did a hell of a job, but he had 8 receivers or tight ends that were above average. He had an offensive line that was in the top 10. He had help around him, and that's what the Bears need. That's what we have to build, and right now we don't have depth. Who's the most likely trade candidate? Okay. So let's look at this, guys. So here's your situations. It depends on what's there at 9. That's for what people are going to come up for. But really, anybody could be a top trade candidate. I don't see the Jets really leaping up one spot when they have multiple needs. Minnesota, Denver, and Las Vegas could all want to jump up if the quarterback is there. If we're not set on having to take a defensive end, New Orleans would definitely want to trade up with us for there. These are teams that just need a couple pieces, and I think New Orleans would be willing to do that. I don't see Indianapolis. Ballard hasn't been really the type that likes to trade up. He trades back a lot like Ryan Poles, unless there's a prime situation like Tyreek Stevenson for Ryan Poles last year where they don't really trade up too much. So I don't see Ballard doing that. I think Cincinnati could definitely trade up for a receiver. That could be something they want to trade up for. Really, any of these teams here, I don't see Miami trading up. They lost their 3rd-round pick. I see them wanting to extract capital just like we do. Don't have a ton of picks, so they might want to trade back as well. But any of these teams could really trade up from that position down. I don't see Arizona wanting to trade up. They've already got their pick up here, and they've got a lot of solid draft capital. They have the capital. They could trade up if they want to. Buffalo could definitely trade up for a wide receiver if they see someone that's a true X receiver that they really want to come up and get. So really, nobody knows right now. And that's the point, is nobody knows who would be the prime trade candidate. I just think he's leaving himself open at this point. Really? Swifty? I didn't know that. The Saints just signed Equanimeous St. Brown. He will not be back with the Bears. I didn't expect him to be back. We'll go back to our depth. Let's go back here. Let's go back to our depth. Didn't expect Equanimeous St. Brown back. Didn't really fit, in my opinion. But here we are right here. This is this year. We got Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Velus Jones Jr., Tyler Scott. We're not cutting Velus or Tyler, no matter what some people think. Velus didn't have a drop last year. Colin Johnson is more of a practice squad guy. We used him at the end of the year, and he actually played well. So he could work himself into the wide receiver 6. But right now we're missing wide receiver 5 and wide receiver 6. Dante Pettis could easily fill that with his return ability. So I would right now say he's wide receiver 5. So we need one more. I didn't see us re-signing Equanimeous St. Brown, Trent Taylor, or Joe Reed. So that's not a big shocker that he got signed somewhere else. I didn't see any of those 3 guys coming back. I really see that last one through the draft. But with where Ryan Poles is bringing in different players for top 30s, it could be the 1st round. It could be the 2nd round from a trade down. It could be the 3rd or 4th round. It could be the 5th round. It could be an undrafted free agent. With Jaquan and the newest one that we just went over in the 5th to 7th round, he can definitely see one of those guys as his X receiver to come in and see if he can pull a Puka Nacua type of situation out of that. Ladd McConkey is a stud wide receiver. I would love to see us trade down and get Ladd McConkey in the 2nd round. So look at Swifty bringing us breaking news. It just happened. I didn't know that. So thanks for bringing that up, Swift. All right, we're not going to stay on here too much longer. Just a couple of things I wanted to go over there. Really get used to StreamYard and check this thing out. But we'll be doing a little bit more next week. I had some crazy stuff going on this week. I got busy. I actually drove 600 miles in the last day, just taking care of some stuff. St. Brown and Mooney both went south. Both people, yeah, agree with that 100%. Hopefully, and you know what? Love Moon Man. I hope he has the most success in Atlanta. I hope he really succeeds there. St. Brown seems to be focusing on his podcast more than his career. I didn't really say that, but hopefully they can pull something out of him too. He just doesn't seem like he's that elite receiver we were hoping to pull out of him either. So, all right, with that, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. Let me know if there's any of the last questions that people have. Yeah, his brother does rock. I wish we had a Helman Raw as well. Yeah, I don't think I finished my top 10 wide receivers. My top 10 are Marvin Harrison Jr., number 1. For me, it's Rome's number 2, then Malik Neighbors, then Brian Thomas, then Adonai Mitchell. Ladd McConkey would be right there, but Xavier Legette's higher for me than other people. Man, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Let me see. I am not your standard order on any of these, though. I don't have Xavier Worthy in my top 10. To me, he got hyped up because of his speed. He's got some issues. Keon Coleman's right there for me. Ricky Pearsall's there. Roman Wilson's right there. Jalen Polk, I think, is very undervalued as far as people's big boards go. Jalen Polk, he would be perfect in Chicago because he played in that weather in Washington, and he's the guy that will sacrifice his body anywhere on the field. He'll go across the middle. He'll take the hits. He'll make the sliding dives, the drags. He'll make the outbound routes. He's absolutely a stud. So those are some of my favorite guys in my top 10. So we'll say Marvin Harrison Jr. number 1, Rome Odunze number 2, Malik Neighbors number 3, Brian Thomas number 4, Adonai Mitchell number 5, Lad McConkey number 6, Xavier Legette number 7. I'm going to say Keon Coleman number 8, Jalen Polk number 9. And we'll say Ricky Pearsall number 10. 9 and 10 can be up for debate. I might change that later on, but right now that's my big board, and that's not how you see most big boards. Now, everyone's going to differ a little bit on those. They're all going to have a little bit different, but really this class into the third round has guys that could be second round worthy on other years. So definitely some guys that we could snag in the second and third round if we do some of that trade down. And that's why I think that trade down will happen. I don't think wide receiver is going to be our number 9 pick. I think it's a small trade down. I don't think he'll do the double trade down like I recommended in my last video. That's what I would want. I think he would do one small trade down. Something like the Raiders is what I would predict right now on draft night. 13, 44, and 112 is what we get back for that. A slight overpay, not a huge overpay, but 30, 40% overpaid for them to come up and get a quarterback. Take our defensive end in the first round, probably Jared Verse or Leatu Latu, in my opinion. I think Dallas Turner would already be gone at that point. And I don't think Dallas Turner's my favorite. I don't think he fits our 4-3 as much as he fits a 3-4 better, but that's just an opinion. I mean, everyone's got a different opinion this time of year. And then in the second round, if one of those centers are still available, I would rather take Jackson Powers Johnson or Zach Frazier if they do fall in the second round. If not, and you've got Xavier Legette still there, Lad McConkey still there, Jalen Polk still, I would absolutely take one of them in the second round. And then in the third round, even trade up a little bit. If Ben Sennett's there in the 60s, trade up from 75 with some future capital from next year, 75 and next year's 4th to come up and get Ben Sennett in the 60s. That's my ideal draft right now. Now, my ideal draft would be to do the double trade down and trade back up, get some extra draft capital. But I don't know if that's realistic. I think it'd be a one trade down at this point, and go from there. So, all right, we're going to wrap it up, guys. Going to try to do a weekly live video. I still do the Free Talk Tuesdays, so we'll have that next week as well. I am working on some videos. Just got crazy busy at the end of the week, so we didn't get those out. So I decided to go live this morning. Hope you guys all have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being Bears Nation. Thanks for being Bear Down Nation and being whatever you are. Beard Nation, Beard Down, Rick Grimes with Matt Eberflus, and any of you who are dads being Bear Dads. Appreciate all of you. Until next time, Bear Down.